So we have discussed about profiles and common profiles in Jboss and subsystems of each profile, default, full HA, full HA, and socket binding group, the importance, and how the profile works. So how do you set up actually? How do you set up a profile, server group, socket binding group, and how do you configure? So the idea is why we were learning all these things, because in order to set up master and slave, you need to know all these things for configuration. So we will not use admin console. We will directly use the domain.xml and host XML files, right? So this is a process. You will define a profile, you will create a server group, you will define socket binding group, and on host controller, you will do the configuration by defining servers, socket binding groups, and port offset. So finally, server startup. So there are other things also involved in this when we set up the master and slave configuration. So we will see that today. So we have also discussed about interfaces, right? So what is a interface? It defines the name bindings for the server. So it binds the ports with the IP, right? So management interfaces, custom interfaces, there are different interfaces. We have discussed all these things. So use cases when each type of interface is used, where each type of interface is used. So the use case is very important when you have to know the type of application, uh, the type of subsystem, and the type of service you're hosting on. So based on that, you will use the interface. So mostly we will use management and public. So management for admin console access and public for HTTP or API access. So let us connect and okay. So previously I have created JBoss master, slave 1 and slave 2. So this is what we will do. We will create a JBoss master and slave 1 first, and we will connect the slave 1 with JBoss master, right? And this JBoss master will not have any servers in it. It contains domain.xml and host.xml. And in this master's host.xml, there won't be any servers. We will remove the default servers, and here we will create servers. All right. And we will start the server on slave 1, and we'll do the deployments on slave 1. So master is just a domain controller. It does not contain any servers. So later on, we will horizontally scale. So what is horizontally scaling up? Adding few more slaves or adding hosts to your domain, right? So first we will do these two things. So let me remove the existing one. Okay, so everything removed. Um, Let us unzip Jboss EAP. I'll move this Jboss EAP to master. Okay. And I will copy uh, the master and I'll create a slave one. So I have got one master and one slave. Okay. So from actually the master contains domain, right? So it needs all the configuration inside a domain. So we will use host master and domain.xml and your admin roles, application users. These are all the configuration files. We will discuss about these files in the next class once we are done with this setup. Um, and what else? Okay, host slave we don't need, and this is a default one. So here under master we will use 1 and 2. So when we create a user, domain user, so that user will be saved in management user.properties. So remember this, we are going to need this one. Um, Now we'll go to slave. Under slave, we have copied this master, right? So under slave also, there will be the same configuration, but we don't need domain.xml and host master.xml. We don't need. So I have removed, okay, domain.xml and host master.xml from slave. Why? To avoid the confusion. By looking at this, you can easily know that it is only slave. It is not master. Okay. So always we should avoid the confusion. There is no domain.xml also. So a lot of people get confused, like on which uh, if you are working on the same machine, creating the master and the slave, you may get confused. You may open multiple tabs and you may be starting with domains slave.xml. So that happens. So that is why we have removed the, mm, I mean, whichever is not required, we have removed those from the slave. So let us take another tab, like a duplicate. This, okay. Hmm. Um, I'll rename this as slave one, and this one as master. So now the confusion is cleared. Fine. So what is the first thing we need to do? We'll open domain.
So what about Java part?
Uh, Java path is already set, right? Let us check. It is already there. We have installed Java, right? So where is Java? ls opt Java is already there, right?
So we
in
need
the
to set path also in domain.conf for user.
no, no, you will not set the Java path in domain.xml.
Not domain.conf. Conf.
Domain.conf. What is that file?
In that folder we have
Okay,
domain.conf
okay.
and sample.
This one, bash rc. We have set it in bash rc, right?
Now,
Using
so
root.
my question is, we said in Java path is two ways. It is either bash HRC or either
etc profile.
conf file like
So
domain.conf
you
or conf.
can, there are multiple ways to set up Java.
So which one is useful actually?
Uh,
Useful means which one is
See,
better?
it is always better to do it in bash rc, users bash rc,
Okay.
or you can also do it in etc profiles. So you can open etc profile. So we have set up in etc profile,
Okay.
right? Here. So every user has a profile,
It is
and you can
necessary set Jboss path also.
uh, see creating the environment variables is always useful. You can create, but if you have two instances, two installations like this, how would you set up JBoss home? So if you have only master on one machine and in another machine like this, you have slave, then you can set up JBoss home. Same, JBoss home here and JBoss home here. But if you have same on the same machine, you have both the hosts, then it is not right to uh, give the JBoss home. So what happens if you give the JBoss home? The system cannot find out to which path it has to go, either to this one or this one. So you can do one thing. You can do JBoss home for master path. Okay, this is one, and export JBoss one or slave home. You have to give like this, but this is not recommended. So on a single machine, there cannot be two same environment variables. So this is official. Like you can configure this in your JBoss configuration also. So always have only one host per server. So if you are having multiple hosts in a single machine, like now we are creating, so that is why we did not create home, JBoss home in etc profile, because our plan was to create multiple hosts in a single machine. Okay. So the first thing, you will go to domain, and okay, you can change the inet address in the interface, or else okay, what I have done is, first wherever the inet address is, I have changed those inet addresses. And the second thing, in the domain.xml, I have given a profile, full HA, and socket binding group and socket binding name. So let us do that. Um, Vim domain XML. Why it is? Okay, there is
You
no
are
write permission or no write permission for this. Now, master domain configuration vim domain.xml. Okay, so search for server or, or before that profile. So this is a default profile. It's a very long file actually. Server group. So there are two default groups, right? Um, I can remove this, but what to do first? Take a backup. Domain, um, domain.xml. You can also give the date or keep it as plain or original domain.xml, something like that. Now domain.xml. So server group. Okay. Now we will remove the server group. Um, okay. Before removing, I'll take a notepad and copy this, or else, let it be here. I will remove only this. So here I'll change the name to not find the delete button. Okay, so corner one. Fine. I'll give it as my SG, my server group, and the profile, I'll change it to full HA, right? So there is only one server group and its socket binding, server group close, and this entire tag closed. Okay, the first part is done. What is it? Creating a profile and attaching it to the server group. So that is done. And what is the next part? Next part is changing the interface init address. So go to interfaces. So there is management, private, public, and secure. So our Java supports all these things. So private is for communication between two different applications, like your server and database, or your server with another server. Unsecured, this is deprecated for legacy applications. So we will use management and public. So as this is domain, it needs some management admin console. So we need to change management value. So this is inet address. Okay. So what is the IP? It is this one. Copy and paste. Done. So we have changed the management interface name. And one more thing, we need to add this one, native interface. Okay. Which one is this? Master.xml. So let me give you some explanation here. Um, management is for, okay, its default port is 9990 for accessing admin console of the domain, correct? Now, the slave host controller, when it connects to the domain controller, which port of domain it uses? Question. Uh, host controller, okay, let me put it here. Slave host controllers does not connect to domain controller with controller on 9990. They communicate or connect with domain controller on different port, and that port needs an interface, and that interface is called native interface, and the port is 9999. Clear? So normally management port number, which is 9990, 0. It will be in the host dot master. Okay. In that host dot master, you have to define this interface. This native interface bind with management interface with port number 9999. Why 9999? This is your master and it has 9990 port number, management port number. All right. So this one is used for to access the admin console. Now there is master here. There is slave here. There are multiple slaves. Slave 1 and slave 2. So these two slaves, when they communicate with master, which is DC, domain controller, they will communicate on native interface. The host controllers will talk to domain controller on this port number. They will not communicate on 9990. 9990 only for console, right? So from the console, when you send start command to the server on slave 2, the domain controller and the host controller will communicate